We are live. It is 2:05 p.m. Central Standard Time. Matt's not here. He's having some kind of a technical issue. He's going to be delayed a few minutes, so I don't have to give GMT because he ain't here. But Andrew's here, and he's in GM. He's in Missouri. He's just like me, so it's across the Pondcast, the best podcast you never heard of. Sam and Matt steering the ship right off a cliff, right into your living room, right into your ear holes, whatever. And we got Andrew, as you can see. Hey, Andrew, how's it going, sir?
It's going great. Just finally glad that it's a nice balmy 30 degrees Fahrenheit outside.
Yeah, isn't it funny how when it's 42, you're like, God, it's like shorts weather. This is so nice, man. This is fantastic.
I know. I was almost like, is this long sleeve like shirt too much? You know?
Yeah, I just put on a long sleeve shirt. I didn't even like put on any kind of like a jacket or anything. I walked outside. I had to run to the store, and it was like, wow, it's so much nicer. Like, I don't see my breath. This is fantastic. So here in Missouri, we've dealt with some pretty nasty weather the last couple of days, and I think we had, at least in the St. Louis area, I think it was below freezing for like 15 or 16 days in a row or something, which is kind of crazy. So, yeah, it's been pretty crazy. So, yeah, we had some snow, and I kind of damaged Becky's car trying to get it up the hill. Long story. Short story that I'm not going to go into, but basically I kind of damaged it. It's not bad. It's not totaled, but I was trying to get up the driveway and slid a little bit and then tore the side mirror and dented the door. So
it could have been worse. I've seen, like, you know, I drove from southern Missouri back up here about a week ago, and it was bad. Like there were a lot of cars. Like, we saw, what was it? I saw like a trailer, like somebody just like a U-Haul trailer somebody will hook up to like a ball hitch, and it was just like on its side in a ditch, and no one had bothered getting it.
Right.
Ton, like left and right, cars all off the road. And they get worse as you get closer to college town, which is where I currently live, and it's terrifying driving around in a college town with a bunch of youngins who don't know how to drive.
Right. Well, and also not having the proper vehicles too. So not only you have the inexperience of not handling driving in bad weather, but also like have driving like a Prius, like my daughter. That's why Monday and Tuesday last week I was at my daughter's apartment, driving her back and forth to work because she had to get to work, whereas I could work from home. So, and then on the way back Tuesday night is when I had the issue with the Subaru and crashing it. So, problem is I got to get it fixed because it's on a lease and it's due in October. Becky's looking to get another car. Plus, it won't pass the safety inspection if it doesn't have a side mirrors. So I'm like, it's just a big mess. So I'm gonna try to get an estimate on it. I might be able to fix it.
When I was younger, in southern Missouri in high school, like, we had a lot of people who would like, and I did this too once because this is one of those things where I had this Chevy S10 that I'd park in the gravel parking lot that all the students parked at school, and somehow my side mirror got sideswiped, and it was just like hanging kind of like, by plastic, and so I duct taped. I used the handyman secret weapon, duct tape, and just duct taped the crap out of it back up there until we were good.
Yay,
Hello.
Matt's here. Finally made it. So, how much is Juice's on the phone? Like
80%. I'm good. Yeah.
You think you're good? You haven't tried that phone out yet. So
no,
So what do you got? The S21 Ultra now. So how do you like it for the first like 8 seconds you've had it? And the 8 seconds you're going to keep it.
I literally got it, put it on charge, and here I am. So I'm not actually going to have a chance to test it properly. So.
Nice.
All right. So we're all here, and we got the regular group of folks, and then we got a DTN, ER, and Simon, and Gary the fireman, and we're just talking about me and our bad weather here in St. Louis.
Talking about you? I'm going.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. I heard it's pretty cold in the UK this last couple of days.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, last week it was literally below freezing, so.
Well, yeah, it's been below freezing in St. Louis for like 15 days. I think maybe Andrew was saying, I think yesterday and the day before, or today and the day before, were like the first days it was above freezing, and you're walking outside with like t-shirts. You're like, "Fuck, this is awesome!" It's like a heat wave, man. This is great. Like, I don't even have to see my breath.
I know.
So,
I was like, "Wow, this is what the sun feels like." Like, I felt like I've been in a submarine for the past like week and a half.
Right. It's been bad. So yeah, and then of course I was talking a little bit about wrecking the Subaru. Well, I didn't wreck it. I just kind of dinged it up a little bit.
Are you not using your mic?
No, because it's fucked up. I got to figure out how to use it. And then Andrew and I were talking offline about having to do some adjustments. And I need somebody who actually knows what the fuck they're doing when it comes to audio and setting it up. And
Juan or Jeff or TK or someone like that.
yes, and
Roger.
the problem is I got the gain so high it's clipping the audio, and I listened to the last podcast and it sounds like shit. So I just went with this because also, to be fair, and I was telling Andrew, I'm not even gonna lie, I was playing like World of Warcraft like right up until like 1:30 because I was listening to Rolando's stream. So Rolando had Zach.
That was
and
there. I seen you.
Yeah. So
I saw you.
I was watching that and then not paying attention, and then I got to go get the focus right and get the mic and put it on the desk, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to fuck with all that bullshit. So I just put on my headset and went old school.
Fuck that shit.
So how have you been, Matt? How's your week been? Have you been busy? So you had the S21, like the regular one, right? The regular S21.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
How did that go? Was it pretty decent? I mean, what are your
Yeah,
impressions
do you know
of
what? It's a good little phone. It really is a good little phone, and the battery life is actually quite good compared to something of equal size. But it's not the best because if you use the phone constantly, the battery life you can get 7 hours easy. But if you're using it on and off during a work day and it's mostly on standby and stuff, One UI just absolutely kills the battery. It's horrible.
Right.
I don't know why One UI uses so much battery. Well, hopefully
it's a pretty heavy skin though.
Bigger. Well, this one's got the bigger battery, so that's why.
Yeah, and
it's a
Aditya
bigger
had Korean fried chicken. That sounds awesome. I should get some
haven't
Korean fried
eaten
chicken
yet, so I haven't eaten.
Oh shit! I did. I had chicken. I had clam chowder, and I had the rest of the cheese balls.
I've not eaten for like 8.5 hours.
Oh,
Were you working today?
Mm-hmm.
So what the fuck did he reach out to your phone guy, or did you contact him? Like, what was the deal with that? Like, how does this work?
He reached out to me.
He wants the S21. He goes, "I'm going to give you this," and like, how does that work?
It's magic. I will not reveal my secrets.
You're a fucking weirdo. That's
I'm a
fine.
weirdo that gets good phones.
So,
That's okay.
So, Matt, one thing I would love for you to try now. I need to find. Excuse me, the name for this. But one thing that Samsung phones can do, apparently, that no other Android phone can do purposefully for some reason, is be able to
shit.
two. That yes, yeah, and then have two separate audio streams playing at the same time. Like if I'm listening to Audible and audiobook, and then I wanted to also have like music, you could apparently accomplish that on a Samsung phone through a third party app, and of course I don't remember the name of it. But,
Wow.
Well, I will try that out for sure. Not sure why I'd want to listen to a podcast and then decide I want to play music in the background as well as, but
well, each
to their own.
Well, my use case, like it's terrible. I was listening to Band of Brothers again on, and so I was
great
like, okay,
soundtrack.
So good.
Yeah, and
so
I
good.
wanted to have that soundtrack in there while I was listening, but I couldn't until the only time I could do is if I'm on the computer, and who wants to listen to an audiobook while they're sitting at their computer and not on their phone?
Band of Brothers is probably one of the best. I'm just saying, throwing that out there.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
And no, Simon, it's just the lighting. So no, she didn't smack me. She did, however, when she came down the hill to see the car stuck in the ditch at the bottom of my driveway. She goes, "Hey, you get stuck?" I go, "Yeah, I also damaged it." She's like, "Oh, I'm glad it's not you." I mean, it's glad it's not me. It was you. Because weren't you just saying the other day how great of a driver you are? I went, "Yeah, go fuck yourself."
That's what I said.
Yeah, I know. She gave me shit about it.
You said
too.
the same thing to me when you only said you was dropping Anna off at work because you're the better driver. And then a day later, you got
compared to my daughter. Yeah, I am. Well, and the problem is I think it's because since I had the Subaru, I think I could probably hit it. I was like, I can make up the driveway because I have before. I've made it up the driveway in bad weather and been fine.
And it was a Subaru. Just to top it off, he ditched the
Subaru. I ditched the Subaru. So, and the problem was, here's the worst part. Like where my daughter had shoveled down to it, I was like 4 feet away from actual drive pavement. I was like, I just need 4 more feet to get it, and if I can get the front tires to grab, I'm there. And as soon as it went downhill, it was all over. And like I said,
it didn't work, did it?
Well, no, had I not driven backwards, like trying to get down the hill, I would have actually rolled the car. I would have rolled it into the part of the where it wasn't the ditch. It's like the part where there's trees and shit. I would have totaled that thing. It would have rolled at least 4 or 5 times. I have rolled a car and gotten out.
A story to tell.
Yeah, well, it's not the first time I've rolled a car. I've rolled a car before. Yeah,
was it a police car?
Yes, it was. It was a police car, and I wrecked it.
Been.
And I wrecked it. Oh, I totaled the thing. And then it's funny because I actually did it upside down. If you never getting out of a car when you're in a seatbelt upside down, it's not a fun experience. It sucks. It's bad.
I was gonna say like you. I would think if you're upside down, the moment that you unbuckle, you probably face plant into the seat.
No, the trick is to unbuckle and have your hand like on the roof of the car, and you can and if you kind of slide your body into the seat, you can kind of slide down the side door.
You can pre-fall.
You can pre-fall
before you
right.
get the seatbelt off.
But it's just funny because I remember sitting there and just being upside down and having the seatbelt on. Of course, it's like, really like this thing going, oh, I hope nobody saw that. Of course, there was like dozens of people standing there. I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay.
See, for when you retell the story, you have to go, well, I was chasing this serial killer.
And, I was actually, I wasn't really chasing anybody. I was trying to get somewhere, and again, I was driving a Crown Victoria. And if anybody knows Ford Crown Vics, there's two things about them. They're rear wheel drive, and they are terrible in the snow. They just are terrible. It's like messing up buttered skis. And I was trying to make a turn, and it was off of one of these roads where it had like off the ditch right there, and I just and it just rolled into the ditch, and it was like crunch, crunch, crunch. And of course, there's that one moment where it starts to go over, and you're like, oh shit! You just have to let it go, right? You know it's gonna flip, and you're just gonna go. You can't do anything. It's that helpless like 5 seconds where you go, I'm gonna let this thing just roll. It's like crunch. I was hoping it would
laugh at you.
Oh fuck yeah! The people think it's funny. And again, this isn't like
cop rolled a car, not chasing anybody, just rolled it.
Well, no, I just rolled it. No, I wasn't chasing.
You just pulled an A-Team, where like every other episode of the A-Team, the car rolled and half exploded, and then people crawl out with like
that's
tiny
it.
bit of blood on their forehead.
You need to make up a better story.
No, I'm not, because
pretend.
Why make them? No, it's just why lie about it. It's actually funny. The funnier part is the truth of just getting out and looking around and going, "Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? No, nothing to see here. No, that's okay."
Crawl out of the car,
it's just
stand
practice.
up and just, hello
Right.
there.
Yeah, they're like, that's good. Yeah, it's fine.
No. Somebody else should have just walked up and be like, "Well, there's your problem."
Right. So, like I said, my name is Fred's like, yeah, let me tell you how scary it is when you're going down a slick hill and your brakes decide not work. Yeah, when you're just like, you're along for the ride. You're just like, yeah, I'm just along for the ride wherever this car is going to go. I hope the hell I don't die here.
Well, we had gosh, we've gone through so much salt, like road salt, and I'm pretty sure it's terrible for our driveway, but like, well, so get this. So was it right before the big snow happened, right as it was getting ready to happen? I went to our local Walmart, Wally World, because I was in southern Missouri. I went to the small town Walmart, and I was going to drive up to use that salt up, and when I got back up here, and all they had was pool salt. Like,
that's close.
It's close, but it's like way more granular, like finer. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, this will work, but it's like that show MASH, where like it's in the middle of dead of winter, and the army sends them mosquito netting. It's like, right. Why in God's name is this store stocking up on pool supplies in the middle of February?
Yeah.
So
it's
yeah.
I've had to buy.
About sunny UK in February. We get like 40 degrees. No, lying. Minus 25 degrees Celsius in parts of Scotland. So
that's cold.
Mm-hmm.
So now my question is, do people in that part is that like unseasonably cold? Like is it like, holy shit, it never gets that cold? Or is there like times in Scotland and Wales and stuff where it gets like, yeah, it can get that cold for a couple of weeks?
It gets cold in the UK, but it never gets that cold. That's the coldest it's been since 1955.
Oh,
so it's one of those very rare occurrences.
It's interesting for how far north, you guys are, that it doesn't get colder. Like you'd think that it would be rainy. It would be kind of a regular thing. Yeah, freezing rain every time. Rain.
No, surprisingly, it doesn't get that. I mean, it gets cold obviously because it's winter, but it never gets that cold to be unbearable. But yeah, it was pretty cold.
Oh man. Yeah. Ugh.
That's cold. Anyway,
it's okay because we'll be sat here in 5 months going, Annie, it's too warm.
Well, that's the problem with any weather, right? It's just like, it's like it'll be July and you'll be like, God, it's 98 degrees and 100%. That's why I like cold weather, because if
I said 98 degrees, I'd be dead.
Yeah. It's 90.
We measure in Celsius.
Right. But I mean, if you're in a situation where you're at 100% humidity and it's like 98 degrees Fahrenheit, and I mean, you can't. People live at the South Pole, right? People live in the Arctic because they can get warm, right? You can, once you're hot and you can't get any colder, and you don't have any way to like, if you're naked and you're not in a cold spot, if you're already hot, you're fucked. You're screwed.
That's always my thing. Like with being in a car or being in the house, I'm like, you know what? It's easier to get warm if you're too cold than vice versa. And and it's one of those things. Like, I mean, shoot, the big thing I noticed, because I had to go out and buy a humidifier because it felt like, I was like, it was so dry in this house that I felt like I could just take a thin strip of like meat and lay it down like downstairs, and then the next morning it's beef jerky because it's so dry in this house.
Well, just the static electricity too. How many times have you been zapping people in your house? I mean, touching my wife and I give a kiss like zap. She's like, "Oh, god damn, man!" And my dog.
Our dog is the fluffiest dog ever, and so I have like this rope like LED light around my desk, and it's like a metal and glass corner desk. So every time I touch this damn desk, I shock it, and then it causes my LED light to go flash, So yeah, it's winter.
Yeah, Ron's in the house, and he works outside, and he's used to cold. Yeah, I am too. I like the cold weather, but I mean, it's just. But yeah,
I much prefer that to the hot weather. I hate being too hot, man. That's horrible.
Well, I'm just worried about people like in Scotland, because we had the issue with people in Texas, right? Having issues with like they're not used to having to deal with like they're not used to thinking about like filling your bathtub up with water, right? In case you water, right? They're not used to like trickling water spouts to kind of keep them from freezing. They're not used to thinking like that, so they got crucified. I mean, this weather really kicked their ass. Anybody in Texas, man, they're in bad shape. Like those people were not prepared for that weather, and then people were really, and electricity too. But I mean, that's another thing. They're just not used to, they don't conceptualize having to have like generators and things that people in like colder environments, like in Minnesota and Missouri, kind of are used to. Like when we knew it got to a certain temperature, you trickled the faucets, right? I filled my bathtubs, both of them, up with water just in case, But people in Texas, they're not used to any of that kind of weather. They got creamed, man. It's a real shame. Hopefully they're back to. I think they're getting back to some kind of semblance of normal. I think
some sort of. Yeah.
Well, they got creamed though in a couple of different ways too. Because for one, I mean, how many of those people who are renting there do you think actually had renters insurance? For that
very few. Well, most people just don't. Just generally, I mean, not just in Texas, but anywhere really. Yeah.
Oh well, but it's so cheap here. Like our renters insurance, I think is something like $13 a month, something like that. Dirt cheap, and it covers just about everything that we'd have. But I mean, they got screwed in Texas partially because their power grid is not like on a federal standard, and so it wasn't up to the same scrutiny. But just. And their pipelines too, like the fact that you're saying like they weren't prepped for any sort of terrible weather, but they had, what was it, in 2011 I think they had a really bad freeze, and they basically didn't heed any of the warnings from that. The state government did,
because governments don't heed warnings. They just basically go with what's and they don't give a shit about that. So
and
here's the problem.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
And so there's this big long discussion, and I'm not going to get into a lot of it just because it becomes partisan and political, and it's and then you got the whole I know, and people mention Ted Cruz and going to Cancun or whatever, and it's like it's just a bad optic.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
He's a senator. He's a senator for Texas, and he basically in the middle of all this shit, instead of staying in the state or going down there, they're in basically a disaster zone. Basically,
the senator of Texas went to Mexico.
Right.
Whilst
not just to Mexico, but to a resort.
Yeah, resort. Oh. Well, yeah, because nobody just goes to Mexico proper. Everybody goes to. I mean, Americans don't travel to that because Americans are pussies, right? So they don't go because Americans won't. Seriously, they are. It's like if you're gonna go to Mexico or the DR or they go to Punta Cana. Okay, well, why would you go to Punta Cana? Why wouldn't you go into Dominican proper, right? Go to Jamaica proper. Who wants to go into a resort where all it is just American shit? It's like if you're gonna, if you want to go there and experience the country.
Abroad, man, I'm gonna go and live in a shack and just enjoy everything that's there.
Right. I'm just saying. So so it's a really bad optic, and then of course you got people that want to take advantage of that. So AOC donates money, and it's not even her state, of course. And they're talking about, and so it's just a terrible optic. And I'm not defending Ted Cruz because he's just a general idiot, and you just don't do that. Like, you just don't do that. Like, it generally should, like, the optic should be, hey, man, if we go to Mexico and, like, leave the state in a state of, like, complete fuckery, it's probably a bad look, right? It just, in general, it's a bad look. You know, it's like, he's the federal, I mean, this is a state problem, right? It's an infrastructure issue, right? There's a lot more things. It's not Ted Cruz's fault that the fact that Texas's energy situation is all jacked up. That's really the state governor and state local leadership, and the fact that they're not. Apparently, Texas doesn't share a power grid with any other state other than Texas. Well, that's a bad look, man, because then you have redundancy. So if you have wind and solar, well, if there's no sun and all your fucking turbines are frozen solid because the turbines are frozen, don't you think you need to have coal, natural gas, nuclear power? You have to have all these components as redundancies to try to, and then of course it's like that general old thing, right? Infrastructure, it's not set up, it's not ready. And of course, nobody gives a shit until it all goes south. That's when everybody gives a shit. Now it's a big optic, right? In 2016 and 2018 and 2019, when the grid was jacked up and these cooperatives are fucked and electrical grids don't work and there's no good options as far as solar, nuclear, wind, geothermal, right? We're not giving that any attention. Then this goes all of a sudden. Then it becomes attention driven. Right now, everybody gives a shit about Texas's power situation. Then you're in fucking New Jersey. Like, you give a shit. You don't. I mean, it's like that's up to Texas, state government, local government, talking to cooperatives, trying to get everybody else. It's a big mess. And so, of course, only when you step on your dick do you realize it hurts. That's what happens, right? And then so whatever. I don't care. It's a discussion for a different day. So, but I just hope that people down there, there's minimal damage and people can kind of get back to it. But also, this is something that residents can understand. Like, when it gets cold, do the things that people in like Minnesota do, right? Like run your, have some kind of energy efficiency if you can. Try to fill your bathtubs. Try to do some things that try to minimize the damage, and hopefully government can figure it out, which they won't, because they don't. Government doesn't solve problems; they just compound problems and throw legislation. And
it's kick the can down the road. That's the motto, pretty much. It's that and marketing,
right?
So
Matt, wake up.
Hey Matt, I have a quick question. So is your S21 Ultra? It's the Ultra, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that
Exynos
or Qualcomm?
Exynos.
Oh, okay. So
2100.
You haven't had it long enough to
no,
be able to tell or anything.
Me and TK did do some Geekbench and some benchmarking comparisons between the S21, which is the same Exynos 2100, and his Snapdragon Ultra, and the S21 won in more cases than one.
Oh, okay.
The Exynos beat it, and the Exynos cleared the floor with it in OpenCL.
I'm curious to see how the battery consumption is going to end up being on that.
Well, the Ultra, I'm curious, because it's a bigger battery, but it's a big screen, obviously, and blah, blah. But the smaller one wasn't so bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't so bad.
I went right after, not long, probably about an hour before this show. I stopped by Best Buy because I like to go in there once in a blue moon, and I tell you, boy, I was looking at the S21 series, the phones, and after having lived with the V60 for so long, every other phone seems tiny. Even the Ultra, I was like, man, this doesn't seem like that big, but that's just my I guess feeling the hand bias from having a giant phone for 6 months.
I've always had big phones, so the Ultra is a normal size phone to me. I've got the silver one as well, which is really nice in person.
Ooh, I tell you that I'm curious to see how that periscoping zoom actually performs.
Shocking. Just because it's 100 times, it's like, oh no, there's absolutely no need for that.
Well, how far does it go before it
I'd say 30 is probably
30?
The best in a worse situation. You go beyond 30, it's just a painting. So I'd say up to 30 is probably your best, but I wouldn't go beyond 20 myself personally.
Yeah, it's just like an oil painting at that point, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's
definitely the 30 is definitely better.
And Yarg has a jump on it because
Ultra.
Matt would have made the same comment. we don't get LG phones, so AR and everybody else in the UK doesn't really know what the V60 feels like because they don't get them in the UK. So
Don't worry. At some point, maybe nobody will get LG phones.
Yeah,
it feels good in the hands though. Say that.
Yeah, because that's all that. Yeah, that's all good. So, but
No,
yeah,
I'm being serious. The new S20 range is matte because it's all matte. It feels a lot better. Like you don't.
Yeah, TK's in the house. And FatProduce is acknowledging, or TK is acknowledging that FatProduce is in the house by TK being in the house, acknowledging that Andrew's in the house. So yes, Andrew's in the house.
We should definitely congratulate TK on a great stream yesterday. He had a whole bunch of people hop in.
Out loud the Sony Alpha stuff that's going to be coming up. That is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was out on Saturdays are bad for me. That's the day I kind of get things done. So I'm always either trying to pick up TK's stream, like listening to it in the car, and I missed most of it. But I saw that he was involved.
I'm always there unless I'm at work, and then I'm in and out.
Yeah, I love to. I hate the fact
Yesterday's
that it's like
was mad.
yeah. I missed most of it, so I apologize to TK. That's definitely not because of lack of interest. It's definitely just because life happens.
Honestly, it started off like any other stream, like completely like we're chatting backwards and forwards with TK, and then just like that, it just sort of took over. All these creators appeared in, and I was having a great chat, and everyone. Oh, it was dead good.
It was funny because
it was easily TK's second best show next to when me and Sam were there, obviously.
Right. Because duh.
It was funny too because TK was going, and he's like, how can I hit in the stream now? With it,
yeah,
but it was good. It was lots of good discussion in that community.
It's the longest one he's done. And I can see why.
Was it like over 2 hours? I would assume it's over like 2 hours. Then.
It was long. It was the longest one he's done.
Yeah. So I got to go back and watch it. I'll take care of that tonight because I got to hang a bunch of pictures. So I feel bad. So TK, my apologies. I definitely, like I said, Saturday afternoons are really the worst time because that's when I can't get things done. And that's the day it's like we get up and Becky and I get some things done. So usually I will stream it in the car. That's why I don't make a lot of comments in the stream, just because I'm driving and I don't really want to text while I'm driving.
Not into ditches.
Not into ditches. It's my first wreck in 15 fucking years of my own personal car.
What? You ain't gonna live it down. Nope.
No, it's fine. And it's fine because you know what? You, dumbass, don't even have a fucking car to wreck. If you did, you probably would at least wreck it once a decade. Maybe. Nope. No, because you only drive six seconds to work.
Stupid.
Right. Well, that's okay. Maybe one day you'll move to a country that you can. Yeah, I know. Well, that's okay. I have to. So that's the way it is. Welcome to the United States.
Don't. You just have, no, Matt. You have to. Whenever you do get a car, you have to buy a Reliant Robin.
No. Have you seen? I've seen. I would be like Jeremy Clarkson in Top Gear when he kept turning it over.
Yeah, because people who don't know, a Reliant Robin is like a 3-wheeled car where it has 1 wheel in the front and 2 wheels in the back, and it's really light, and it's a death trap for anyone who wants to turn.
They made a rocket out of one.
Yeah, I saw that. It was like a space shuttle.
Oh, is that one of those flat earth people that are trying to fly to prove the Earth is round? Is that what that? No, it's just
it was like a Top Gear joke.
They took a Reliant Robin and tried to make it into a space shuttle to see if they could send it into space.
Right, and then of course, Simon has to bring up the fact that this is actually my second wreck in a week. If you, that's why. And if you've noticed, if my name,
if you talk about Rachel,
Reginald,
you got to talk about Rachel.
Yeah, I'm talking about Rachel. So the one that, and it's funny because, because we were, I was listening to Rolando's stream and he was talking about when people make a mistake, right, and the integrity of owning the mistake, right, and so I made the mistake the entire show, and instead of just trying to deflect it or try to make it, I just ate it and then try to leverage it into I'm a stupid idiot. So basically, and to be fair, Kimmy Gigi was really good about it. So. Yeah, Rachel. So Rachel was really good. So afterwards, I reached out to her personally and just hey, I have no excuses other than just the fact that I just did not do my homework and I did not really pay attention to what was going on, and I apologize. And so she was really good about it, and so she had a lot of fun with it. So it's fine. I don't give a shit because one of these days somebody's gonna fuck up. Like I said, eventually you're gonna fuck up, and when you are there, I will be there, and that's what it used to be at the
when
PD.
You fuck up, I'll be there.
Right. So what's funny is when you work as a police officer, that's how it works, right? So when somebody fucks up, like when I do something, right, everybody talks about it until the next officer fucks up something, and everybody starts talking, right? So I just know that eventually some officer is going to do something stupid, something's going to happen, crazy shit happens, right? And then everybody's going to focus on them and not you. So, of course, after I did that car thing, like 2 days later, an officer did something just as stupid, and it's actually on YouTube. And if you want to watch it, you can. He's in the snow, and he's taking this Crown Vic, and he is just taking it and flooring it, trying to get up this hill. And he's like, Rah! It's called Snow Patrol. I gotta look it up. It's a Peevely car, and a citizen was recording this guy for 6 minutes take this car and try to drive it up a hill, and he blew the engine out of this Crown Vic. And when you watch Hot Pursuit Snow Patrol, look it up on YouTube, and it's a Peevely police car. You'll know it. You'll see a Peevely patrol car, and that's where I used to work. And it's not my video. And, of course, he blew this. This is like 2 days after I did the flip. He tore this car apart, like destroyed it, like floored it for like 4 minutes. It's the most awesome 6 minutes of video if you want to watch somebody destroy an engine in a Crown Victoria. It's awesome. Hot Pursuit Snow Patrol.
I found it. I'll put a link here in the chat because
it's a fantastic video. Again, this was my partner. I wasn't working this day. I saw this video. And it was like, oh shit. And so he did that. I'm like, and of course the first thing I was like, okay, I'm vindicated, right? Because everybody's gonna talk about that shit. I'm done. Everybody forgot about my flip job, and then they focused on this. And this was on YouTube. Mayor had to deal with it. It got on like local media. Oh, it was bad. It was bad news, man. Oh. It's bad.
There's one thing I was wanting to kind of touch on. Have either of you guys messed at all much with virtual reality at all? It's kind of out of left field. Have you guys played with that much at all?
I did the HoloLens. I got a chance to check out HoloLens, which is in VR. It's more like an augmented reality. I get to check, and that was wild. Like I went to a Microsoft store locally here in St. Louis, and I got a chance to actually have some time with the Microsoft HoloLens. It was awesome. I have to admit, it was really cool. So that's my only experience with it. Not much more than that, though.
Like there's
PlayStation VR. I played
how is that?
I played Resident Evil Biohazard.
Oh shit!
Ooh. That was already a first-person game. I kid you, I shit my pants. Like it was like, because it's a really good Resident Evil game anyway. There's a lot of really good horror stuff in it. When it's in VR, you may as well just sit in a nappy, man. I swear to God.
Yeah,
diaper.
Like VR,
sorry.
Well, VR is such a crazy thing. So what was it? I had a VR headset. It was a Samsung Odyssey mixed reality, Windows mixed reality one. Like back in 2019, I had to return it after a month because of issues with the headset. And I've recently gotten another one of them, and I've been playing with it. And it's because I've been using that, and also been rereading a book, History of the Future, which talks about Palmer Luckey and the development of Oculus and all of that, and it's so interesting. Like I've been going through and playing around with a bunch of different things with it, and I tell you, there's two things that I would not like. The big thing that I would not have expected would be like a big thing to push VR for me would be. And it's an app called Big Screen Beta, where it's basically you can just be in a virtual movie theater and just watch whatever you want.
I did that with I had the I guess it was the Note 5 I had that came with the glasses, and you can actually watch some YouTube videos. Now, granted, it was it's kind of rudimentary, right? But that was actually like I remember watching, because they had one thing was the Saturday Night Live skit where they were doing it was Sean Connery, right? And they were doing it, but you could actually look around and see backstage. You could actually see them actually doing the skit. Like
that's cool.
It was pretty cool. So I saw that, and I was like, that's probably how I would use it. Really, is watching media. That would be kind of a cool, I guess, bridge to get into really using that medium.
Well, and I've been looking at the different products and like how like there's the Quest 2. I don't know how people feel about Oculus and the whole Facebook aspect of it, where you have to sign into your Facebook account and lack of privacy. But I tell you, they have some like the Quest.
Sam doesn't have a Facebook account, so
no, I don't.
He can't have.
You just create a fake one. Be like John Doe and.
Well, we have the Across the Pondcast, but I've never logged into it.
You have to have had your account for an X amount of time, had a certain amount of activity on your account before you're allowed to use it for your Oculus Quest, which is pretty shitty.
Shit. Yeah, that is really shitty. Because what if somebody is like, what if you get it for like a parent of yours who's like, you're there as a gift and they don't have a Facebook account, so they have to wait a certain amount of time. That's ridiculous. Like that's something that I find kind of, and it's interesting. This book I've been reading, they talk about how they went in and they were like, okay, like Palmer, the politics aside, and how you feel about Palmer Luckey, he was very much against he is kind of a controversial figure apparently, but like he was very much against Facebook, basically. Facebookifying essentially what's happened to Oculus now. Like, was it like he fought against them for a long time for that, and now that he's out of the mix, they've kind of gone all in, and where they're trying to make their own like Apple-esque ecosystem for Oculus now. And so it's
such a damn shame, man.
It's a shame, but their hardware is really good, and so it's like. There are some competitors out there, but they're at varying price ranges, and there's no like ultra like
the Oculus is so good. It's just these companies just buying all the good stuff. Look at North and Google, but they haven't killed the flipping glasses that we were all really enjoying with Juan's videos and stuff, and they look really promising. No, Google bought them, squashed them. Facebook, Oculus. No, you can't use it. You got to have a Facebook account with this amount of activity on it. Blah blah blah. That's dead because no one's going to want to do that. It's just they're just playing a monopoly with all these companies that are trying to innovate, and it's like.
Well, here's the crazy thing though. Like I'm going into big screen. Big screen's like the easiest one to get a whole bunch of people into to interact with because it's free, and I go in and I'd say 75 to 80% of the people there are using Oculus Quests, I think they're selling really good, despite the fact of the just the shittiness of Facebook. So it's crazy, and but you're right. Like with these companies buying these other ones up, and they stifle the innovation. I mean, good God, like what was it? They were touched a little bit on with the smartwatches on TK's stream yesterday. How, what was it? Fitbit bought out Pebble, and then Fitbit got bought out by Google, but we don't see any of the lineage, going
Google killed everything.
Oh yeah, like I mean, and like what other company goes, okay, we're gonna have one team make this one product, and then 6 months or a year down the line, let's have another team make a competing product, and whoever makes the fastest, adapts the fastest, wins out, whether or not the product's any good. Like, what other company does that?
This is why it's so hard to invest in Google products. Like, they release a product and everybody's like, you think it looks really good, but do you want to invest in it, buy into it? Because in a month, in 6 months, in a year, it's probably going to be dead.
Well, Stadia is a perfect example of that, and what's been happening in the fallout from Stadia. Because what was it? The developer for Terraria. So after Google shuttered all of their internally run game development studios for Stadia, they also cut a bunch of funding to a lot of third-party developers who were developing, including the people with Terraria. They had a whole thing where their YouTube channel got banned, and they were just passing the buck when it comes to customer service and resolving it. And eventually, the developer for Terraria said, "We're done. We're not going to support any of our products in any of your Google run platforms anymore." So who knows whether the Android app will continue to get updates, but it's like they're burning everyone and Stadia is like the big one you see where they didn't have any incentives for people to develop for them. And then two, they burn the bridges after a year? And when it takes years
and it's not even just that. It's not even just their own stuff. It's the stuff they're buying. Like, again, Focals by North. It's not just their own stuff they're developing and then killing. They're buying companies and then just killing it off. What was the purpose in Google buying North?
On the off chance that they maybe might revive their Google Glass, which was a failure.
There was literally no reason for them to buy that company and then just kill that company.
Yeah.
That's a monopoly. That's all they did.
I will tell you that, well, considering I don't have Facebook, maybe this is an option for me, the HTC Vive. I want to check one out because I seen that at the Microsoft store. They had it right at their thing. Well, and to be honest with you, I'm not even going to lie, HTC has always and will always have a soft spot in my heart. I don't care what it is.
No.
Yeah.
Well, Well, and so one interesting.
I think the Vive,
believe it.
It looked pretty good. Like I didn't have a chance to get some hands on with it, but it looked really like a viable VR candidate. Like I want to check out more what they've got going on. Really, honestly, the HTC as opposed to Oculus.
Oh yeah, it is. It's really good. Well, and I'd say the Vive. I'd say the Index because it's weird because I don't think the Index is manufactured by HTC. I'm not sure because it's not branded as HTC, but the Index is really the gold standard because they like especially the controllers are the most innovative ones where they're just like they track your finger movements and you can let go of the controller and it's still attached to your hand. And whatnot. But there's and for tracking, like for hand tracking, it's really good. It's interesting though because as I'm reading this book, apparently when Oculus was being developed, was starting to move around, they ended up Valve was really big on augmented reality, like HoloLens. Like they thought that was going to be the future of their gaming experiences and not virtual reality. So it's interesting to see how this has been shifting and because does it feel like to you guys that virtual reality has kind of lost some momentum, at least in the mobile space? It's like gone now in the mobile space. It feels like
I haven't heard much about it. And I'm wondering if now I guess the question is going to be, is it because VR and AR hasn't really been in the discussion because other things have supplanted it, right? Other things have come in, have pushed it off the radar, or is it just because there really isn't anything really happening in that space, right? What is Oculus doing other than mergers and acquisitions? What is Vive really doing? Like, are people really engaging in VR and AR situations?
No.
Like, I haven't heard. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I agree with Matt. Like, I just don't think the reason why that discussion hasn't happened is because nothing's happening in that space. I don't think, at least, nothing is happening in that space that is driving consumer and media engagement, like talking about it, right? Everything's in the phone market. Everything's in the smart home, right? Your Nest thermostat, your Ring stuff, because everybody knows about that. I mean, people at work who have Rings.
I'm smart at home.
Mm-hmm. Well,
you're stupid at home, and you got terrible wallpaper. That's okay.
Hey,
it's classy. It's classy.
Don't you dare. That is the classic wallpaper of this show.
Right.
See, I'm not even allowed to change it anymore because no one will let me.
Who says that? Because I'd be okay with you changing it unless your partner doesn't want you to change it. You probably want that shit off the wall as bad as possible.
No, Matt, you've got to take a photo of it and then make that into a desktop and mobile wallpaper.
There you go.
No.
With your face. Let's do it with your face.
In the corner.
You mean I'm not doing like what Linus does.
What does I don't know.
Linus Texas, man. His head's on everything.
Oh yeah.
Is it? I don't watch that guy. It's not that, and not because I'm throwing shade. He's just a creator that I just like. I have other people I'd rather watch.
I watch some of his computer stuff. I don't watch most. I don't really watch his mobile reviews, but I watch some of his computer build stuff, which is kind of entertaining.
Did you spit on that?
No, I blew on it because I spilled a bit of my drink on it.
That's okay. All you gotta do is put it in the dishwasher to unplug it, stick it in your dishwasher, and it'll be fine.
According to Linus.
Yeah, you can wash it. I've washed all my keyboards eventually. I just basically put it in the dishwasher. Yeah, absolutely, totally.
I have a Logitech, one of those wireless ones with the trackpad that I use for my desktop, for my Steam Link, and I had to disassemble that damn thing because I spilled some wine on it a couple of weeks ago, and so a couple of the buttons were sticky, and I had to figure out how to get that.
What happens when I'm cleaning my keyboard?
I've never tried a full mechanical keyboard like you got, but regular just keyboards. Shit, yeah, put them on the top rack of your dishwasher, put the cable up there, tie it around, and then just launch it. Let it dry out, set it out for a day or so, plug it in, it works fine. Yeah, I clean all my keyboards all the time that way. I've done it, and it works fine.
That's cool. Yeah, because there's it's interesting. I just never had the. I'm the guy. I'm just whatever. I'll wear these. I have these glasses that you can put the different magnifying lenses on for jewelers, and so I'll use that when I'm I just use a Q-tip and I'll just go and clean every little thing because I'm so nervous about it.
Yeah. What is this? Are you having some kind of a stroke there, Chief?
Uh-oh.
Did you fall asleep on your keyboard again? Oh fuck!
It's his password for his OnlyFans.
I was cleaning the keyboard.
Good job. And then I don't necessarily feel this way, but Ronald has a very specific feeling about the Austin's an idiot. I guess
I don't
it's
feel that way. I just think that video was pretty stupid.
I didn't watch that video. I haven't watched it
I
yet
watched the video
because
was
it's, like,
stupid, but
cringe.
Austin's stuff is good. Like Austin Evans is a good creator, and I do like all of his stuff. But that video was pretty stupid.
Well, in the YouTube comments that I saw on that, because I didn't end up watching it. I'm gonna watch it at some point. It's just like, at what point? It's kind of like, like, okay, I want to spend 10 minutes sitting here and just being angry. When do I want to do that? But like I read a bunch of the comments on there, and a lot of the comments were kind of tearing the video apart too, being like, that wasn't a fair shake. Like, what the hell?
That video deserved to be fucking crucified, man.
Well, and it's like calling it, because I read Juan's article about it and how
I did too.
They don't call out any specifics.
And did you notice how they use the iPhone Mini?
I feel like it's bad
to make it look taller.
Yeah, it's like it's very deceptive, and
it was a shitty video, but I still like Austin Evans and his content.
Yeah, I do.
I've watched everyone you watch and follow makes a shitty video you don't agree with. Like,
yeah, look at us, and we make shitty content all the time. I mean, people still keep showing up. I mean, what the hell? So I agree.
I don't know why.
I haven't figured out. Actually, he was excited to come on. I'm like, this guy must be like a sadist, because who wants to come on this show? I don't know. It's all good. But anyway, it's I don't know. I see that. It's just the easy way to out, right? It's just the narrative that's an easy way out. It's to me that video was a layup, right? It's just that's the confirmation bias. It's the people that just want to bag on and punch down. Like I said, Juan, I like Juan talking about punching down, right? Punching down to an OEM, like punching down to LG. And now LG may be going away. So like punching down to HTC or punching down to BlackBerry or punching down to all these other companies. Or even like...
who any of these people are. You are a sheep.
There you go. Aye, sir. Okay. It's like the Duo content. People punch down on that.
Shilling for Microsoft again.
No, I can look at the phone, and I'll tell you this much: I have never not been excited to use a phone until the Duo. Like, I liked using phones. I enjoyed my HTCs, and I tried them all, like Huawei, and I tried Xiaomi, and they're all great. And I even got. Hold on.
Sammy's at a loss for words, and he's never at a loss for words. He's speechless. Yes.
5G.
4A.
4A 5G. So I'm going to try it out and see how it goes.
What are Pixel going to do with the 5A? Because the 5A 5G just sounds like a stupid name.
Yeah, that would just be 5AG.
That's even worse. What?
I know.
5A.
That's why they don't. Why do you think they don't offer me a job in making phone names? Because I'm terrible at it.
This is a question I have actually got. At what point, now that all these new chips have 5G built in, at what point did these companies stop calling their phones XXX 5G? Because it's just going to be standard.
I guess when they don't have a non-5G variant, like the 4A has a non-5G variant, but
none
like
of the
with
Samsung phones have a 4G variant, but they are all called the S21 5G, the S21 Plus 5G, and the S21 Ultra 5G. Why?
Well, right, because I think it's for regular general consumers need to know that it has 5G compatibility. I know it's stupid for us.
We need to get to a point now where that's it. Like the OnePlus 8 Pro, OnePlus 9 Pro 5G.
Once I get the feeling that once the carriers stop pushing 5G in their marketing, which is like all their marketing is about now.
That's going to be not for a long time.
Then once that's it's going to be I feel like it's going to be at least a couple of years, and then once that starts cooling down, then I think we're going to start seeing the phones cooling down in that branding too, because I think it's more of also just like a carrier and phone branding thing too.
Oh, whoo, $1,900. Fuck, nobody's buying that phone at $900. Well, and here's the funny thing. I will say this. This is the only comment I have about the pricing. I loved how people said, "Well, I would get a Duo if it was $850." No, you won't, because you can get a Duo for $900. You ain't buying it. That narrative is so fucking stupid to me. It's
going to be hard enough for
the
Microsoft to sell the Duo here anyway, but to price it like that.
They're not. Yeah, they're not going to.
Insane.
Yeah, it is. It's because. But here's the thing. Look at the Surface line itself. Except for like the lower end Surfaces, they're all expensive. Go price a Surface Book.
I know.
And look at its price and go, why the fuck would you buy this when you can? Again, it's like pricing a Dolce and Gabbana. It's like pricing a Michael Kors.
who?
Okay, it's like get a wife that wants to look at decent purses, and you'll go into a store and see a Michael Kors is $400, and you go, you can get a decent price. Yeah, and you'll say that, and when your wife comes home with one, which Becky has a nice purse like that. Not many, just
It's from the
one.
market. It costs $5 and it just looks like the real thing.
Right. Well, I'm just saying is it's one of those things where there's no reason why, if you're looking at performance versus what's going on, what you can buy laptop wise for $1,500 or $1,000, there's no reason to buy a Surface. If you've had a Surface Book, which I did, I have the original Surface Book, it was a fantastic piece of hardware. And that's what you have to understand. It's like, why does anybody buy a Maserati? It's because you buy it because it's the look, it's the feel, it's everything. It does the same thing that your $25,000 Corolla will do. It gets you from A to B. But it's a look. And so I think it's just like everybody talks about, well, the Duo was like $900. No, it wasn't, because it's got a camera you don't like. It's got a dual screen that you don't want to fuck with. And it's got no NFC. It's a 855 with 6 gig, which is funny because if you check your gig usage, your RAM usage on your phone, I guarantee you don't peg your RAM out.
Do you
yourself a
even
favor.
gigabyte though? Do you?
Right. Do me a favor. Go to your phone, look at the RAM usage on your average RAM usage. I guarantee you don't peg your phone out. Guarantee
100%. This fucking phone's 12.
Yeah, you ain't going to even get near that shit. You're not going to ever hit 12 gig of usage.
What the fuck?
No, what I'm
do
talking
I need
about
12
your
gig
usage.
on my phone for? Why?
Well, because it's a selling point. It's because that way it's got 12 gig of RAM. I've had no problem with the 855 and 6 gigs of RAM in this Duo. I've run app after app after app, and I've never had a problem with force closing. Never, ever once. So that argument is horseshit, and anybody who puts that argument out there is a spec whore, and I'm not down with that. And again,
6
people
is
who want
the most you would ever need.
Yeah, or maybe 8. It'd be nice to have 8, but I mean, you don't need it. I mean, look at your RAM usage. Go to your developer options, look at your RAM usage, and see what your average RAM. If you're rocking 12 gig, I will send you my paycheck. I'll send
I
it
think
to you.
every time I've gone in to do like when you go into Cleek, like you Cleek memory stuff, I'm usually at like 2.9, 3.5.
But even
gig
if you're using
usage,
5 or
that's it.
4, I'd like to have 8. It'd be nice, but I mean, I've had no problem with 6 at all.
Sam's very experienced at having 6.
That's a nice look.
wishes he had
Is that an
an
Xperia right there?
This XE1 is a Snapdragon 835, 4 gigs of RAM. Still is a champ. The only
835? Can that thing even still boot up?
Right, no, that Essential phone, that was a good phone too with the 835 in it. It was nice.
Literally the only limiting factor for this is 32 gigs internal storage, and it has a memory card slot, but you can't. When the software, that's the whole testament to the thing is the fact that that you get 12 gigs of RAM in your phone, but by the time you get an OS and programs that are actually going to fully take advantage of that,
right.
They're going to have support is going to have stopped for that. Like even security updates will have stopped for that phone.
That's the one thing you need the most. I've got that Z2, the Xperia Z2 upstairs. And
it still boots up fine, doesn't it?
Still boots up fine. It works perfectly fine. The only downfall for these phones is the battery and the software.
Right.
If the software support was still there on this, say, the Sony Xperia Z2, which obviously it's not going to be, but say it was, you probably wouldn't be able to run it. But say it had 2 years ago still been up to date.
Look what I saw.
It would get that thing off our show. Get that off our show.
This is my iPhone 6S, right? 6S Plus. I bought this for my daughter, and she doesn't use it. She uses that Note 10 now, right? The Halen's. But here's the thing: I use this as I put it into my Bose Wave radio. I got a Bose dock. It works fine.
Cat's roasting the shit out of you.
I don't give a shit. Let him
get it off our show.
But I'm saying, but as far as like, still gets iOS 14. This is it's a 6S.
That's what I mean. Apple
and the battery is garbage. I gotta replace the battery because it's shit. But I mean, I use it just to play music, right? I actually don't do anything with it.
It's easy for Apple because they only make.
I'm not saying it's not easy. I'm
just
saying,
software.
It's
done. Android has so many skins and variants and shapes and sizes and flips and folds and talls and wides and.
Yeah,
well,
it's a different
for them to optimize. For
it's a different. If it's a different landscape altogether, totally, I get it. I agree.
Well, and it's another part.
Good.
Of it's like
everybody hear that? Sam agreed with me.
Whoa! Holy shit! No,
I know it's a first. It's not reciprocal. He doesn't ever do it with me. He fucking roasts me on the daily.
I agree.
It's fair. It's fair.
Oh man, but yeah, it's.
I mean, it's just like, I'm just saying those. If you want to have that argument, you can, and I understand that they have to drive specs. I understand all that, but really, anybody who sits there and wants to talk about how shitty the Duo is to use, I would argue that it's hard. It's not the best phone in the world. It's got a lot of issues. I understand totally that it's not for everybody. Matter of fact, it's not for most people. And I think, honestly, if they do make a Surface Duo 2 and improve some things, I think Microsoft should only make about 100,000 of them.
Can we get 100,000
of them? Yeah, I would like to see the Neo. That would be pretty cool because the Neo is supposed to run Windows 10. I would like to, honestly, I wish this ran Windows. I really do, but I realize it's an app thing. I get all that.
Well,
but honestly,
fucking Windows Phone.
Well, I was gonna say it's that Windows 10X versus like.
I'm in a
regular
mood today. I
Windows.
don't know if you noticed.
Well, it's like one thing to think about too is like that. Like we don't want to have the Neo run the proper Windows 10 because like did you guys watch Mr. Mobile's video, Michael Fisher's video about it was that foldable Lenovo that foldable and like how Windows 10 proper just hobbles the device, and so it's like. We would need. So one thing that I'm kind of concerned about too is what is the difference between Windows 10X and Windows RT, like functionally? Because Windows RT crashed and burned for very particular reasons, and I don't see how Windows 10X is getting around those.
He's the window. Wait, him, the idiot over there.
Yeah.
He's the Microsoft.
Windows 10X is for ARM. Yeah, and like I said,
okay.
For what?
So Windows 10. Yeah, it's
so sorry.
Again.
You know what? I'm just gonna. I'll just shut up and say it.
and I don't. And like I said, unfortunately, and DJ's asked about the Neo. I'd like to see. I think they are going to use an ARM processor. I don't think it's going to use an Intel or any other kind of chipset. And I'd like to see it. And actually, they talked about making a Surface Uno, and I'm like, that's just going to not work because there's way too much competition in the space for phones. You know, I would like to see Microsoft come out with a Duo, increase the chipset, maybe go with it. I'm okay with I use the the chipset in this Pixel. It's perfectly fine. I think it's a 765G. Fine. The RAM's fine. I take great pictures. It works. It performs great. You get the 5G. I'd like NFC. Maybe make it thicker.
Do you get the 5G though?
I don't get the 5G though. I do get the 5G.
Dude, you better
do you
get
5G?
Where you
live. No. Well, but again, I don't. I live in St. Louis, and when I went up to South County, it does get 5G, and I tested it. It does. It works out pretty. It works out pretty well. It's nice. I mean, I like to have NFC. I'd like to have a little bit better chipset, maybe 8 gigs of RAM. I don't care, and do something with the camera hardware. Like give me an ultra wide or give me a telephoto and make it a bit thicker. I'm okay with an extra millimeter. Yeah, if another millimeter and a half on each panel, so it's a 12 millimeter phone closed, I'm okay with that. I mean, I'll get the Surface Duo too. I don't even care. But I don't think Microsoft. I wish they will because I know they will, but they'll ditch it and they'll go back to not making phones and that'll be it. But it's okay. I had a really good time with it, and I like my Duo. And like I said, but I have to have a companion device for pictures, and I do. I love the software.
The best one to have as well.
Dude, the software features, the call screening, just like how it, the fact that I can get up to the minute, it's just great. I like having it. I missed having it, and so that's a nice companion device, and that's what I use it for. So it's okay.
It's not just that; it's quite a good little phone to have anyway. Like
it's
in
great.
general.
Yeah. The speakers are really good too.
It's the same as the 5, but a little bit bigger and a little bit cheaper, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice. I mean, I've been impressed with it. I had the 4XL and I really liked it too. So, I mean, I'm all in on Pixel. I like them.
Well, and it's like I have a couple of friends who have been, LG and other ones, and they've been kind of like, well, I broke my screen or whatever. I'm going to think about a new device. And it's like the stuff that they're looking for is narrowing because like now with Samsung's current generation not having SD card support, like what else do they have to go with? An older LG, an older Samsung, Sony, or Moto if you never want to get updates, by Moto. So it's like it's narrowing even more now, and so like I find myself recommending to people like just get a Pixel 4a or whatnot, just because it's just a better bang for the buck, even if you're missing some of those features that you're used to.
Don't even. Becky, come over and kick your fucking teeth in. I don't give a shit how tall. She'll climb up through the ladder and beat your fucking ass. You want to come at me, that's fine. You go after her. Woo!
I was talking to Goran, not you.
Oh, I was gonna say, Becky, but it's yeah. I mean, here's the thing. We can have these discussions about what devices, but go with what you want, man. Get an LG, get a Samsung, get a Duo, get an iPhone. I mean, who in their right mind is going to sit there and actually go to war against somebody because they have an iPhone or they have an S21 or they got an LG? I know you will because you're a hateful bastard. That's why.
Hey, I've got my PlayStation T-shirt ready for fucking war with these Xbox fans, man. So I'm ready to go to war with these Xbox people. No.
I know, and the whole time I'm just like, and I as a PC gamer just have like popcorn watching the fight, you know.
Yeah,
I beat you over the head with my PS5.
Right. And I mean, I guess
digital edition only. That disc is too heavy. You can't. No, don't damage that. It's too expensive to fix.
Yeah, I gotta put it in the thing. I can't get a digital download.
I want some faceplates, man, but I'm not buying faceplates from that shit company in America that's selling them.
That's okay.
Don't worry. They won't exist. They won't exist after they get sued into oblivion, right?
Sony
you should get
shit,
Extreme Skins. I'm gonna cover our faces.
Who don't sell faceplates and ask Sony to sue them. So
right, exactly. Extreme Skins, folks. If you're looking to get a decent skin at a decent price and you don't want to get all sorts of craziness, you can get yourself. They
now have cases, X30 cases. They have clear, stealth, thin clear, and they have the skin touch ones. Honestly, awesome cases.
Absolutely. So if you were looking
check them out,
and you don't
temporarily only if you have an S21 or iPhone 12 because they're new, so they're testing the waters with them, and they don't want to make too many for other phones until they know that they're going to be successful. But they are, and from experience, because I had some with the S21, they are freaking good cases.
And then Ron says basically toss your PS5 out the window and get a PC. Quit being a bitch.
Why would I do that? How much would I spend on a PC to be the same power as the PS5? I'd spend more building a PC to get it to the same spec as the PS5 than it would be just to buy a PS5, right?
I don't.
No, but then it could be your streaming machine. Then you can. You know,
I
got the fucking S21 Ultra. What do I need that for?
I don't know. Extreme Skins are good. I'm not sure about the other half of this comment though. Aditya, we gotta talk offline, man. We gotta talk offline a little bit, and we gotta figure out where your head's at, because I care about you, man, and I want to make sure that you're in an okay space, because I don't know about the foreskins. I don't know. I guess they could. I guess that would be okay.
It's their triple X rated.
Right. Skins. So, but if you are looking for a skin for your phone, go check out their website, Screen Skims. Give them a check out. They are good people, cheaper and
consoles,
more expensive and better quality.
Headphones, tablets, laptops.
Yeah, laptops. Yeah, iPhones. If you got
they
Android.
Even do Android TV boxes. They do cases. Man, honest, they do everything.
Yeah, they've done some really interesting ones too, like Raspberry Pi case skins. Because I built a Raspberry Pi for for Christmas I helped.
It's not just about the phones, man. They do a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah, so if you get a chance to check them out, go ahead and do that. But yeah, check out Extreme Skins. There's a link. Let them know we sent you. If you guys want to get some phones, maybe we'll talk to them about.
There's a link pinned to the top of my Twitter page, and I think the Across the Pondcast Twitter page, where you save yourself a little bit of money as well when you use the link. Automatically applied at the checkout.
Yep, get you one and check out their stuff. And they got tons of great stuff. Always increasing.
And they have
quality
deals
and
most
content.
Days anyway.
I think it's Wednesdays, right? Don't they have a Wednesday thing where like
they have buy one get ones? They have 15% sales, 20% sales. They have all. It's great. They have Raspberry Pis, headphones, laptops, whatever. Go for it.
And even if you're not in the UK, if you're in the United States like I am, they still great shipping. They're quick. They're responsive. If you got a question or if you have a concern about an order, give them a call. They're awesome. They're good. And even if you mess up your skin and you take a picture of it, they'll even roast you on it just because they're good like that. So it's all good.
Just because you fucked up the PS4 skin and you deserve that roast.
Yeah, but I mean the 4, really? That's why I fucked that little bit? Really? Okay. That's fine.
You managed the hard bit and you fucked up the easy bit. So yeah, you deserve the roast.
And Ronald says he's got extreme skills on his S20 Ultra 5G. Awesome, good purchase, sir. And if you get check them out. They're good. And like I said, if they don't have your phone, send them an email. Tell them to say, hey, I got this or whatever, and see what they can do. They had the more
Unless
people
you
that
have an LG or a phone that's not sold in the UK,
Well,
then
no.
they can't get hold of it to get the model in for.
Well, or they can get a hold of it. They aren't going to sell any of it, so they're not going to. They can get a hold of a Duo, and they're not going to make a skin for it. So that's just the way
because
it's
they
going
won't
to go.
sell it.
Because they do have the G6 and G7,
and they're never going to sell it. Yes, but that's because after the G7, LG pulled out of the UK market. So,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, Matt said foreskin. There you go.
You can buy 4 skins.
Yeah.
Put it that way. Yeah. Okay.
4 skins. Okay, you can buy 5 skins.
Yeah.
That's
4
okay.
or 5 skins. There you go. It's not
3 or 5.
It's not sexual at all. You know?
Yeah, so we are at our time. So we are going to, because don't we have a place? We have a place.
We are going to hop over to Life of Tech Roger's stream right now. That's where we're going. I suggest everyone in chat, you come with us. Life of Tech on YouTube, and that's where we are going now. Andrew, link it in the chat.
Hashtag who's Rachel? We loved having Andrew, sir. I realize we kind of jumped on last minute to getting you on, sir. Thank you for being. I know you're moving and you're kind of into a bunch of stuff with the family. So hey, thanks for spending an hour and a half.
Congratulations to Steph. I will say that.
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, we're excited. It's just gonna be a crazy next month. Us moving and getting stuff going. That's why I haven't really had a Broseph stream in the last this year really yet. So, well, we had
life
one,
though, man.
Things
yeah,
the one.
Yeah, it's been crazy. So yeah, we're just excited. It's lots of changing stuff, but it's real exciting. But yeah, I'm happy. Thank you so much for having me on. This has just been a freaking blast and the highlight for my weekend.
Well,
we're going over to see Roger now and some other guys that'll be on his stream as well.
So congratulations to you and Steph, and hopefully everything works out.
Hell
and
yeah.
Like I said, eventually when this COVID thing's done, I'm still coming down to Middle Missouri. I'm gonna come out and see Andrew. We're gonna hang out at the farm and do all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna make a little road trip for sure. So that's it for Across the Pondcast, the best podcast. And here's the thing, Matt wasn't here. I didn't fuck up the intro.
Well, you did just fuck up the ending, you dickhead.
No, that's okay. I don't
just
really
started it, and then you cut yourself off.
I don't care because I don't care. I don't care about the endings. Intro. I don't care about the endings. All I care
let's
about
just
is the
end it now, and let's go to Roger. Everyone, follow us. Link in the description. Not in the description. Link in the chat.
Yeah, link in the chat. Andrew, thanks for coming on, sir.
We're going to jump over. I'll send the link to you two now. What Roger sent to me.
Sounds good. All right, folks, for myself, for Matt, for Andrew, thanks for coming to Across the Pondcast. Come back next week, 3 o'clock Central Standard Time.
The best podcast you've never heard of, but need
Absolutely. And next week, we should have Terry Warfield. That's our guest for next week. So hopefully we'll get him lined up. It'll be a great time show in. And we love you guys. Take care of your tech. See you later. And we'll be over in the stream over with Roger here in a few moments. All right, guys. Love you. Bye, everybody.
Peace.
See ya.